Okay, let's go. So if you can see my screen, please give me a thumbs up. All right, very good. So as all of you know, the topic of today's session is the three pillars of turning content, LinkedIn content into clients. Now, all of us, I believe at this point have a LinkedIn profile, whether we've optimized it or not, we all have a profile, right? So in my opinion, the ultimate purpose of having a LinkedIn profile, especially if you're a coach wanting to grow your coaching career or your business, it's to get clients, right? So that is the focus of today's session. First of all, I want to thank Namrata, Kenneth, and everybody else in the team, because the previous time, for some reason, I had this impression that the only two of you are behind this. But now I know there are many more people, many more builders in the community. So I don't know exactly who all of them are. So I'm giving a big thank you to all of you for making this happen. All right. So thank you for that. So this followers on LinkedIn. It's not about how to get a top voice badge, although it sounds great. It's not about some secret hack to get magically get clients. Okay. So what is this masterclass about then? As always, if you have attended any of my previous masterclasses, I always talk about three things in every masterclass because we have like 1 hour, 90-minute window, right? And if there's too much information, it's just going to be a lot, and most people end up doing nothing with it. So I've streamlined it into three main takeaways for all of you. And here are my three big promises. Number one, by the end of this masterclass, you will know how to optimize your LinkedIn profile to attract your ideal clients. So what this means is your LinkedIn profile, it's almost like a magnet that if you know how to optimize it and you do everything necessary to optimize it, you will be able to attract your ideal clients. So I'll go into all the details on how to do that. Second part is how to build an audience of prospective clients. And the third part is the process to turn content into clients. Also about writing content, how to create valuable content. Okay. So just to give you a quick introduction about me, many of you already are familiar with me. For those of you who are new, just to give a quick introduction. So my journey as a coach started back in 2017. I'm an ICF trained coach, NLP trainer, and an international speaker. And over the last 6 years, I've had the opportunity to work with coaches from 21 different countries around the world. And my focus in doing one-to-one sessions, group sessions, masterclasses, and live trainings, all of these things is about only one main thing, and that is how to go from having coaching skills, coaching credentials into getting clients. So my entire focus is on helping coaches on the business side of building your coaching business. Okay. So what inspired me to do this particular session is, I've been on LinkedIn for a few years now, and here are some messages of, prospective clients reaching out to me over the years. And when I was able to do this consistently over the years, I thought this could be a really good topic for other coaches to know about. And I looked into everything that worked well for me. I'm no expert on LinkedIn, but I'm going to share with you what has worked for me and many of my other clients. So that's the reason why I wanted to do this. So all of you can, take the action steps after we finish the session. Okay. So when I first got started on LinkedIn, I faced a few challenges. Number one, I had no idea what kind of post to write, where to even begin. If you've ever sat down in front of your computer with that blinking cursor and your brain goes, okay, what should I write now? I faced it so many times, but many years later, I was able to find a process whereby knowing the topics to write about became easier, and I'll help all of you to do that. So that was my first challenge. Second, I had no idea how to reach out to prospective clients, because if you only write content, it's like, you're using only like 1% or 5% of what's possible on LinkedIn. We also have to be able to reach out to prospective clients, right? So the third part, I had no idea how to take the conversation forward if someone reached out to me. And lastly, I even suspected if this whole LinkedIn thing was a scam, because in the beginning, a lot of people were like, showcasing their success and saying you should do this, you should do that. And I even really suspected in the beginning if this whole thing was a scam. I'm just curious to know, at this moment in your journey as a coach, what are the challenges that you're facing specifically related to LinkedIn? Please share them in the chat box. Your challenges related to LinkedIn. Kenneth, there's a question for you in the comments. Yeah, starting trouble. Okay, all right. Content. Okay. What else? Kind of not aggressive in reaching out to prospects, not sure if anyone reads. Yeah, that's always a big one. Anything else? Reaching prospective clients. Okay. One more? Anyone? Content is not a problem, but getting clients is a problem. Okay. Vanitha, I'm not sure if you attended the previous masterclass. We talked about how to create a compelling coaching package. And I taught extensively about getting clients in that. Today's session is more on the content side, on the LinkedIn side. Sounds salesy, looks like a sales navigator license to get more from LinkedIn. Of course, don't know how to create constant content. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I appreciate that. So let's get right into it. The 3 pillars of turning content into clients. So before I dive deep into the 3 different pillars, I want all of you to understand the big picture, right? So it's so easy to get lost in the details of things that sometimes we're not really sure what we're doing. So before we go deep into it, I want to share this big picture with all of you. So the question is, what is the real purpose of writing content on LinkedIn? Anyone? What is the real purpose of writing content on LinkedIn? You can share in the chat. Visibility, absolutely right. Branding, awareness of the brand. Yeah. What's the ultimate purpose? Trust. Yeah. To show my capabilities. Clients, there you go. Give a big hand to Deepthi. Simple as that. All of you are correct, right? We want to build our brand. We want to have more visibility, your credibility, trust building, all of that to do what? To get clients. So the ultimate purpose of that is to get clients. So before we get clients, we need to understand this thing. Before someone pays you money for coaching, they must pay attention, right? On LinkedIn, because they need to know you exist. And they need to spend at least a few minutes and over time, maybe a few hours over a longer time span for your content and on your profile. So before they become your client, before they pay you money for coaching, they have to pay attention to what you're doing on LinkedIn. And consistency on LinkedIn, whether that is creating content or engaging with other people's content, that over time wins their trust. So once you have their trust, it's almost like you have a bridge that goes from taking the relationship from being a stranger into someone that they're willing to talk to, like an acquaintance to begin with, right? So when you have their trust, they're open to having a conversation with you. In the world of coaching, most of the time we call it a discovery call. Some people call it chemistry call, chemistry session. It's all the same thing. So when you have their trust, they're open to having a conversation with you, right? So the more discovery calls you have, the more chances of getting clients, provided you know how to convert them. I talked about that in the previous session. So if any of you would like to have access to that, please reach out to Kenneth or Namrata or somebody in the team. So the more discovery calls you have, the more chances of getting clients, right? So this is the big picture understanding. So now let's go into the details, okay? Optimizing your profile. So this is actually a picture of the final day of my NLP trainers training, which happened 4 years ago. So on the final day of my training, my trainer told me something very interesting. He said, if you want to have more success as a coach or a trainer or in your coaching business, the one lesson that you should always keep in mind is instead of trying to figure out things by yourself, find people who've already achieved what you want to achieve and find out how they did it and do the same thing. It sounds so simplistic, yet it is so amazing how so many people try to figure things out on their own, which most of the time ends up in wasting time and you don't really get any results, right? So this is one mindset that I would encourage all of you to adopt going forward, not just only in your LinkedIn, but everything that you do in your coaching business. So the reason I'm talking about this is because in the next slide, I'm going to show all of you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. And before I go into that, I want to share with you that everything I've done to optimize my profile is based on what I learned from other people who are like so much more successful on LinkedIn, and based on what I've learned from them. Okay. So would you like to know how to optimize your LinkedIn profile? If you would like to know that, put yes in the chat. How many of you want to know? Yay. Okay. All right. Very good. So let's go to LinkedIn now. Give me a second, please. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to decode every single section of a LinkedIn profile. And by the way, how many of you in your LinkedIn profile, it is not optimized yet? If it's not optimized, please put your hand up. Okay, no problem. This is going to be really beneficial for all of you if you haven't optimized it. If you've done it to some extent, this will give you more ideas. Okay. All right. So the very first thing I want to get started with is the profile picture. So as all of you might already know, LinkedIn is a professional platform. So the very first thing, simple as it sounds, is your profile picture. Okay. So I highly encourage you to have a professional picture, at least like a semi-formal kind of picture. Okay. If it's in a studio, that is okay, but it's not necessary. You can even, if you have a decent camera on your phone, that works as well. But you should have a professional picture. And when you're starting out your coaching business, as all of you already know, branding is an important part, right? So I'd encourage all of you to think about your brand colors. Don't take too much attention right now, but for the moment, just have some kind of idea what is the color that should be your dominant color. So for my brand, I'm using gold, white, and black. So the background color in your picture should be the same as the biggest color, the most dominant color in your branding. Okay. So the other part is the banner. So the banner is, when you're driving, you see a big billboard, right? Which is advertising some products and services. So on LinkedIn, this banner is exactly like that. So when people click on a profile and they land on a profile, it's like a big billboard that tells them who you are and what you do. Okay. So there are two main parts to it. One is a picture. So if you have a picture that demonstrates your work, something like you holding a microphone or doing a session, or it could even be just another professional picture. If you don't have any picture of you doing a session or a training or something like that, that is okay. Just put any professional picture on the right-hand side. Okay. Now, on the left-hand side, we should put something that is called the brand identity statement. So the brand identity statement is basically about two main things. Number one, who do you help? And number two, what results do you help them achieve? And it goes like this: I help, and then your target market, achieve or get, and then the result. Okay. So for example, in my case, because I help ICF coaches, I've written, I help ICF certified coaches to get paying clients and grow their business from scratch. Yeah. So, and then below that, I just wrote, follow me for proven steps to set up a coaching business and attract your ideal clients. So if you're an executive coach, you could say, I help executives to improve the relationship with your team members, or I help executives to get a promotion, whatever you're doing, depending on your niche. Okay. So the next part is obviously your name. By the way, I've seen a lot of people on their name, like after their name, they've written their credentials or their qualifications. So please don't do that for your name, this part, okay? So you should only keep your first name, middle name, and last name, or the first name and the last name, just for your name. So everything about your credentials, your certifications, that's the section just below that, okay? Now, here's the easy part. This part is basically your short bio. Okay. By the way, is everybody able to follow so far, or is it too technical? If you're able to follow, put one in the chat. Because when I first first learned this, I was like, oh my God, so many details. Okay, all right. So the easy thing is you can literally copy what you've written in the banner and then put the same thing here. For mine is slightly different because I made my banner, many months ago, but the bio I keep tweaking depending on the inputs I get from my target audience. And by the way, once you have a certain your brand identity statement, it can change and evolve with time. It doesn't have to be like a fixed thing, because as you're doing this, as you're increasing your LinkedIn activity, you'll get to know what your target market really wants from your specific kind of coaching. And depending on that, you can tweak it a little bit. But to begin with, the basic structure is like this. I help your target market achieve the result. Okay. And then have a separation here. Okay. Then the next part should be your credentials. So this is where you can say ICF, PCC, MCC, or if you have any other certification, you can put that. And everything I've learned about LinkedIn, what I've seen the experts do, they never have more than 3 lines. So the thing is, it's not about how many certifications you're adding here. It's about what's most relevant to who you're trying to attract. Let me say that again. It's not about the number of certifications that you add here. It's about what's relevant for the kind of person that you're trying to attract through LinkedIn. Okay. So pick and choose on what's really important for your target audience, and anything more than 3 lines is usually too much. So you can have it like until here, but 3 lines is a good way to go. Okay. Now, the next part. So this one here, right? I written, here is how I can help you. This section on LinkedIn is where you can give a link. So this can either be a link to your website, link to booking a call with you, link to any area that you want to go to. So someone in the questions, Kenneth, I remember someone had a question: how do I send people to my YouTube channel without reaching out to them? So if the intention of your LinkedIn profile is to send people over to your YouTube, then you can actually put the link to YouTube channel here. Although I don't recommend it, because when they're on LinkedIn, you have some way to track it. But if they go to YouTube, it's going to be a bit more complicated. So you should have a defined purpose of your LinkedIn. Okay. So you can either have, say, book a call with me, or check out my website, check out my programs. So in the beginning, I used to have a link that says book a call with me, but now I've taken it out because I'm being very selective of who I'm talking to. But in the beginning, if you don't have many prospective clients, if you don't have many discovery sessions, I recommend you can put a link to a calendar, and there are many applications that let you book a call with people. So just put that, okay? All right, so the next part is what's called your featured section. By the way, before I explain this, is there anyone here in the audience, because I want to have more engagement, anyone here knows what is a featured section? Can anyone share? If you know, just put your hand up. Anyone? Okay, yes, Deepthi, go ahead, please.
I think when you put in a post, and there's an option of having it featured or not featured. I think it comes as top of your post. That is the feature.
Yeah, that is correct. Thank you for that. And just one more addition I want to make. It comes on top of your profile.
Yeah.
So the benefit of having a featured section is that when people scan through your profile, which happens if you're consistent on LinkedIn, people do read your profile. Okay. So the advantage of the featured section is that you can choose what you want people to see about you. So for example, if you have your certification, let's say you got a PCC certification or any other credential, and if you want people to see that, first thing you do is to make a post about it, and then there's an option that says add to featured section. Also, if you have a lot of engagement with any of your posts, and with LinkedIn, as you know, the more you write posts, your previous posts, they go somewhere. It's not easy for other people to see it, right? So if your certain post got really good engagement, you can highlight it. So when people read your profile, you can have a feature section. People actually see those posts which got a lot of engagement. So naturally, when someone sees your post that has a lot of engagement, they perceive you as an expert or an authority or a trustworthy person in your niche. Okay. So to begin with, if you don't have a featured section yet, I have a simple tip for you. You want to know? So the simple tip is that make a post with your certificates. I hope many of you, most of you might have it. So make a post about your credentials right now, whether that is ACC, PCC, or whatever that might be, and add it to the featured section. Because that is something that is a credible thing you want people to see, right? So to begin with, that can be one really, really good thing for you to do in your featured section. Or if any of your posts have gotten good engagements, good comments, that can be a featured section. There is no right or wrong. The main purpose is that the content has to be good and you need to have a decent amount of engagement in that. Someone has a hand up. Kenneth, I'm sure it's not you, but it's a different Kenneth. I don't know which Kenneth that is. Is there a way you can check out who that is? We have a lot of Kenneth today.
Yeah, whoever hands is up, please feel free to come on the mic and speak, please.
Yeah.
And Aki, we've got 2 follow-up questions on what you just spoke on the chat as well.
Yeah. Yes. So by the way, the questions here, right? How do we activate the link? What about the link? This one, all these questions are the technical aspects of how do you add a link? You know, what do you do when you disappear, when the link disappears? I'm talking about the strategy part, like where to add it and what's the purpose. So because we have a time restriction, I won't be able to answer the technical aspects of it, but these are things you can easily find on YouTube or Google. Or if you have a friend of yours who can help you with it, please ask them, because in today's session, I want to focus on the strategy part, the big picture. Okay. So thank you for the question. Let's go to the next part. So next section is your about section. So how many of you would believe me if I told you that your about section is like a sales letter? So your about section is literally a sales letter that convinces, informs people of who you are, your background, your credentials, and how you can help them. Okay. So let me share with you how to do that. So if you notice my profile here, by the way, is it like visible or do I need to zoom in? Is it okay? All right, good. So the first section here says ICF coaches are taught how to coach, but never taught how to get clients. Now, everybody here who wants to get more clients, you can resonate with this sentence, right? So the key is in your first sentence, it has to be an attention-grabbing statement. So this is not about, hi, nice to meet you, or how are you, anything like that. The first sentence has to grab people's attention. Now, as you can see here, LinkedIn is set up in the way that they don't show the entire about section. They show only the first 2 sentences, right? And why is that? Who can tell me? Anyone? Why is it that LinkedIn only shows like 1 or 2 sentences? Okay, I'll share with you the answer. It's because, it's all driven on attention, right? If you find it interesting and you want to read more, you just click on read more. Otherwise, you can go into whatever you want to do. So that's the main thing. So the first sentence has to be an attention-grabbing statement. And I would encourage all of you to think about what could be something that your target market really agrees with that is connected to a challenge that they have. For example, if you are, let's say, an executive coach, you can give a statement something like, most managers are good at their job, but inefficient in communicating. Something like that. I'm just making it up now, but something that can grab people's attention and which is connected to a challenge that they have. Okay. So now, the next part of your about section, I would recommend all of you to write a story. I'm not reading the entire thing right now because there's a lot here, but I want to, share with you the high-level strategy. So the thing is, you have to write a short story based on how you came about doing what you're doing right now. It could be a personal tragedy, something like that that you had, or maybe, you know, you went to a retreat, or you met somebody, or you had a guru, or whatever that might be. What is that journey that you went through that made you become the coach you are today for that target market, right? So give them a quick story behind it so that people know where you're coming from. And the next part is give a few, like maybe 3 to 4 bullet points. If you can give more, that's great, but at least 3 to 4 bullet points on what is it that you help people do as a coach. Let's say it could be improve the relationship, improve communication, overcome limiting belief, whatever that might be. At least 3 to 4 different things. So I've given like 5 to 6 here. So anything that helps people understand what is it that you can help people with? What are the areas that they're struggling with that you can help them as a coach? Okay. So the last part of it is a call to action. Now, I would recommend all of you to give your email address. If you want to give your phone number, you can, but for some reason, it's possible that, you know, it might not be a good idea to give your phone number because people might like call you abruptly, which is not that nice. So if you want to give your phone number, that's fine. WhatsApp, that's fine. But at least your email address. And my favorite way for people to reach out is via LinkedIn. So I know where they're coming from. So you can even mention here that feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn or email me. Okay, so a call to action. Because when people go through all this, right, and then when they reach here, chances are they would like to connect with you. So just let them know and give a call to action, which is to contact you. Because remember what I said in the beginning, it's about the discovery calls. The more discovery calls you have and you know how to convert them, the more chances of getting clients. Make sense? That makes sense so far? Please put yes in the chat. Okay, all right, very good. So the last part of the profile I want to share with all of you, and this is my favorite part, and this has been a game changer for me. Okay, so the experience section. Now, I want to talk about like 2 specific things here. So obviously, you know, many of you might be in a job right now, right? So you should add a separate section for what you're doing as a coach. If you're associated with an organization, that's fine. If you're a solopreneur, that's fine, whatever that might be. So what you want to do is, in your title for experience, don't just write life coach or executive coach, because that is average. What you want to do is, this is a section that, again, grabs people's attention, because the first thing people look at is the headlines, right? So you want to do a mix of 2 things. Number 1, you want to tell them like what kind of coaching you do, life coach, executive coach, business coach, whatever that might be, and for who, the target market. So for me, my positioning is mentor and business coach for new coaches, because I help them to get more clients and grow their business. So if you're helping, let's say, executives, you will be saying executive coach for senior level managers, something like, or directors. Life coach for university students, relationship coach for, you know, newlywed couples, whatever that might be. I'm just making it up now. So make sure you state what kind of coach you are and for who. Okay. All right. So far, so good. That's the end of the detailed part for how to optimize your profile. Now, I'll take a quick break here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Who has a question here? Please unmute yourself, and we can have maybe 2 questions and before we go to the next one. Yes, Soha, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Akai, for this. It's very helpful. Regarding the link in the top part, I have a link tree.
Yeah.
Do you advise to leave a link tree link there?
Okay, great question. So by the way, for those of you, for some reason, if you don't know what a link tree is, it's, you know, it's like a 1-pager where you can add the links to different sections of your social media, Facebook, Instagram, everything that you have. So my question to you, Soha, where do you want people to contact you? Okay, forget that. Let me ask you this first. which platform do your target market really use the most?
I still don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that. That's why
Okay.
I created the Linktree, which is inclusive. It has everything in it.
All right. So that is, thank you for sharing that. If you don't know where your target market are the most, it's good. You can use the Linktree, no problem. Right? And you can have a caption that says, here is how you can contact me or contact me here. So just to elaborate a little bit more on that, in case, I mean, depending on your target market, right? The people, depending on their interests, some people spend more time on LinkedIn, some on Facebook, some on Instagram or any other platform. So this could eventually be a good way for you to figure that out. But going forward, if you identify that if most of your clients or prospects are on LinkedIn, then I would recommend you to add a Calendly link there to book a call with you. Because if they search you or if they come to a LinkedIn profile, you don't want to distract them by going somewhere else, right? You want them to reach.
Yeah. Regarding the Calendly, I found that people find it complicated, and
people find
they complicated. And once they open the Calendly, they decide to go out, unless they are peers. Peers are familiar with it, but ordinary people find it complicated. They're not accessing it.
I'm not so sure about that because, you know, I know many people personally who have been using it and I've been able to use it as well. So also it depends on how you structure it, right? So one piece of suggestion that I have for you is make it simple, like ask for their name and their email. That's it. Because a lot of people have a habit of asking for like 5, 6 different things. And that's when usually people go on, right? So just the name and the email is enough to begin with and make it easy for them to book a call with you. Okay?
Okay.
All right, I need to continue now. I'll come back to the questions later. Thank you, Soha, for that. Let's go back. Okay, all right. So that was about the optimization of the LinkedIn profile. That was my first promise to help you optimize your LinkedIn profile. And if you believe I kept that, please put 1 in the chat. Okay, very good. Thank you. I'm happy that most of you seem to have understood it. Thanks. Very good. So pillar number 2 is building your ideal audience. Now, picture this, right? Picture this, that you are doing an event, okay? And you've organized everything that is creating, let's say it's a value sharing experience, some experience that you're giving to people where they get a lot of value, right? And you book the event, you know, like pretty much plan everything else, but you end up getting an empty auditorium. Or worst case, you end up getting the wrong people in the auditorium. What happens? The effectiveness of what you prepared for is going to be like dramatically reduced, right? You won't be able to complete that thing that you're preparing for. So in most people, when they create LinkedIn profile and LinkedIn content is exactly like this. Because if you don't have the right people in your profile, it doesn't matter how good your content is. It doesn't matter how many top voice badges you have. It doesn't matter how authentic you are if you have the wrong audience. So that is my topic in this section. How do you build your ideal audience? So I'll just elaborate a little bit more on that before I go to the next part. So what you want to do is LinkedIn thankfully has an option where you can actually selectively pick and choose who you want to add to your profile and also remove the people who are not a fit for your specific kind of coaching. Okay. So I would like to share a few practical tips with all of you to build your audience. Okay. Number 1. By the way, how many of you attended the previous masterclass? Put your hand up, please, if you have. Okay, a few of us. Okay, great. So there was one, for those of you who haven't attended that, let me share with you a key takeaway from the previous masterclass. And that was people with a similar interest, they always spend time in a particular place. They always hang out in a particular place. This masterclass is actually a good example of that, right? We are from, I think, different countries, different parts of India, a lot of us. And we're still here in this session because we have one common interest, and that in this case is LinkedIn. Similarly, for your target audience, depending on who you're working with, they have a certain interest. And on LinkedIn, there are many groups for communication, leadership, startup, entrepreneurship, whatever that you are focusing on. There are many groups where your prospective clients are already members of. So identify the groups where your prospective clients are already members of. Okay. Now, once you identify that, what you want to do is you want to add them as a connection, right? Some of you, in the questions you mentioned that you're not sure how to reach out to people. So how many of you here would like to have a very easy, non-pushy way to reach out to prospective clients? How many of you would like to have that? If you would like to have that, say yes. All right, good. Excellent. So what you do is you go to the groups, right? And you look at, the different people and have a look at their profile. And if you feel like they're a good fit to be in your profile, they may not become your client immediately. Most likely they won't, but you still have to build your audience in the beginning, right? So if you feel that they are a good connection, what you do, and by the way, please do this using your laptop or your computer, because as far as I know, when you send a connection request on mobile, LinkedIn, your mobile phone, you cannot add a note. So have you seen that little button that says add a note when you send a connection request? There's a difference between follow and connect. Okay, if you follow somebody, they're going to know that you're following them, but you can't really send them a message. So I would recommend when you're building a profile, click on connect and then add a note. Never ever send a connection request without a note. Okay, please remember that. Never send a connection request without a note. And like I said, as far as I know, on a mobile phone, you can't add a note. So please send connection requests using a computer. Okay. In the note, here's literally a sentence that I always use. So it goes like this: dear, or hello, or hi, and their name. And you say to them, I hope you're doing well. And I noticed that we have a common interest in coaching. We have a common interest in leadership. Wherever you found them on the group, we have a common interest in entrepreneurship, whatever that might be, right? I would love to connect with you and be part of your network. Best regards or best wishes, and then your name. That's it. That is the simplest and a very non-pushy, non-aggressive way of connecting with people, because you are not trying to sell them anything. You're not trying to invite them for a coaching session, nothing. Remember, before people become your client, they have to pay attention to you, right? And you have to build trust with them before you get them as a client. Okay, so that's that. Now, the next way to do it is, how many of you are on Facebook groups related to your target markets? If you are, put F in the chat. If you're part of certain Facebook groups. Yeah, Kenneth, absolutely. I completely agree. The era of building a personal brand is I wouldn't say over. I would say you should add a tribe. Okay, so I want to continue with this. By the way, Facebook compared to LinkedIn, in my experience, is not that great in terms of connecting with prospective clients, serious people. People on LinkedIn are way more serious. But still, you can use Facebook groups, and there are many more Facebook groups compared to the groups on LinkedIn. And what you can do is, when you become part of these groups, first of all, don't pitch anything to anyone in the beginning. Become part of that groups. If you can answer some questions that they're asking about, that's great. Become a contributor in these groups, both on Facebook and on LinkedIn. Because when you're contributing on a regular basis, you're actually giving first before you get something, right? So people see you as a person of value. So what you can do is leverage that Facebook groups and search for those people that you see on Facebook, copy their name, go to LinkedIn and put it in the search bar. What you will notice is a lot of people who are on Facebook will be there on LinkedIn as well. Okay. So this is a direct way for you to leverage Facebook groups, identify prospective clients, and add them to your LinkedIn network. Okay. Next, the other way you can do it is follow LinkedIn pages related to your niche and target audience. So, as many of you might know, you have a LinkedIn profile, which is a personal one, and you have a LinkedIn page, which is more like a community, like a organization thing, and you have a group. So search for, this one, pages as well. And when you go to those pages and go to click on the page, you will see the number of people there. So if those people, if you identify they're a good fit for you, that can itself be, the people that you can add onto your network. Okay. So learn how to use the different filters. So how many of you have seen different filters on LinkedIn that allows you to like filter out the country, what is it, a group or a profile or a person or a page? So if you go to LinkedIn, I mean, that's a bit more technical. I'm not going to be going into that, but I would encourage all of you to go search on Google or YouTube how to use LinkedIn filters, because it can literally show you whether you want to see groups on a certain topics, you can see groups. If you want to find people in a certain country, you can type that country. So go to the LinkedIn search bar and enter a keyword related to your niche. Let's say relationship, fitness, promotion, communication, coaching, ICF coach, whatever that might be, and access the filters. This is a great way for you to connect with people across the globe. You don't have to be restricted to the people in your country. And I found that this is the big limiting belief with a lot of coaches. Just because you're in whatever country you're in doesn't mean you're restricted to that, because LinkedIn is a global network. You can connect with people from across the globe. Okay. Next one, this one is especially for people who are executive coaches, leadership coaches, or coaching entrepreneurs. How many of you here are working in that area? Leadership coach, executive coach, or coaching directors? Anyone? Okay. Yeah, there are a few people. Great. So this one is especially for you guys. Okay. So what you want to do is, by the way, let's take the case of someone working with the director of a startup, right? So you have to have a list of startups, like maybe young ones or a mid-sized company, something like that, a startup. And when you know the names of those companies, go to their website and you will see the founders, or they have a section that says our team, right? So you will see their profile there, their name, their picture, a little bit about them. So if you copy their name and go back to LinkedIn and add them, you can literally add them. Many of them, if they're busy, they may not accept it, but you can still, this is a great way for you to add people if you're in this area. Coaching entrepreneurs, leadership coaches, executive coaches, right? Directors. So the more you do this, the more people are in your profile who match this target audience. Okay. So that's the end of the tips. If you found it useful, please put yes in the chat. I know it's a lot of detail. All right, very good. So that was my, again, one more thing I want to share with you is what to do with your audience. So all these things that I talked about right now are different ways to build your ideal audience with your prospective clients, right? So once you have that audience, what do? You understand this, that your content is a vehicle that builds trust and credibility, okay? Before someone pays you money for coaching, they must pay attention to you. LinkedIn allows you to connect with 100 people a week. This is the latest that I've seen. If someone knows that you can add more, please let me know, but this is what I've learned. So what I would recommend all of you to do is set aside time every single day, at least 5 days in a week, and add 100 people a week minimum to your network. So the more you add people with ideal prospective clients to your network, the more chances of getting discovery calls, provided you implement everything that I'm sharing with you today. And the more you do that, the more chances of getting clients. Okay. So invest time to engage with others' content, give in order to receive. What does that mean? One of the best ways to increase your LinkedIn impression is to comment and engage on other people's posts. Okay, so let's say there are two people, right? And one person regularly engages and comments on the other person's post. If you regularly do that, the connections of this person, they will also start to see your comments, even if they're not connected with you on LinkedIn. So commenting and reaching out to other people, like engaging with their content is a great way to actually build your visibility. Okay. Yeah, this is something, critical thing I want to share with all of you. That is, only 3% are actively looking for your service. That means all the people that you have in your audience, right? Even when you reach out to them or they reach out to you, only 3% will be ready to say yes immediately when you have a discovery call with them and you make them your offer. The other 97% comes from nurturing the relationship. So this means regularly keeping in touch with them, offering them content, free ideas, free tips on a regular basis, doing follow-ups every few weeks and letting them know of your upcoming programs, all these kind of things. This one, it's a bit more detailed. I don't want to go too much into detail of that, but just know that just because you have an ideal audience, not everybody will be ready to buy from you or become your client immediately. Only 3% will be ready to do so, provided you reach out to them or they reach out to you. The remaining 97 has to come from nurturing. So this is one value that I recommend all of you to adopt from today. Focus on nurturing the existing connections you have. It's not only about adding new people, it's also the nurturing the relationship with the existing people in your audience, right? Kenneth, you agree, right? You're a community builder yourself, you know that. Awesome. So that was my second promise, okay? So the last part of the content is creating valuable content. Finally, we're going to talk about how to create valuable content. So far, I talked about two important things. I'll summarize quickly. First thing is how to optimize your profile. And I'm actually taking going from the back to the front, because if you don't optimize your profile, it doesn't matter how good your content is. If you don't have the right audience, it doesn't matter how good your content is. That's why I talked about these two pillars in the beginning, your profile optimization and having the right audience for you. Okay. So now let's look at how to create valuable content. Remember this framework, okay? We are all coaches, meaning we are helping people to change or transform a certain area of their life or any results that they want to achieve. So this is one framework that is constant in whatever niche you're in. And it goes like this. State equals behavior equals results. So I'm a certified trainer of NLP. So if anyone has learned NLP here, you will be familiar with this thing. So it basically means this. State means feeling, right? In order for your clients to change a certain area of their life or overcome a certain challenge or a problem they have to be in a right state of mind. So when you're creating content, some part of the content should also be about that. How people can get into a right state of mind, how to overcome confusion and have, focus, all these kind of things. Second part is the behavior. So once someone takes control of their emotional state, they can change how they behave, meaning they can have a different action, take a different action. And the actions you take determines the results you get. Okay, so this framework, always remember this framework when you're creating content, also when you're talking to people on a discovery call, because this is one framework that's constant for all the niches, because it's literally about transforming a person's life. Okay, so your content must reduce the gap between where your potential clients are and where they want to be. So that's why I said it's like a vehicle. So when prospective clients are reading your content, they want something, right? They want a certain result. They want to overcome a certain problem. And your content has to be able to reduce that gap between where they are and where they want to be. Second, as you're doing this, you have to demonstrate your experience and results. So what that means is, if you have worked with a few clients, even if it's pro bono, and you get messages from them sharing with you, that they were able to achieve their goal or overcome a certain problem, utilize that. Mark out their name. You don't have to expose their name, and make that that message from your prospective client or your client into a post. So sharing other people's success story as a post is a great way to demonstrate your experience and your results. Okay, it's called case study post. By the way, if your client is happy to give you a video testimonial, that's the best. But I understand many of you might be working in an area where you won't be able to share your client's name, and that's fine. You can mark out their name and then share a screenshot of what results they got by working with you. Also, you can talk about your experience. So sometimes, like your story, for example, what are the trainings that you've taken? What are the master classes or the workshops that you've delivered? Something like that. So that can also be a kind of post to demonstrate your experience and results. So bring forth your authentic personality so they can connect with who you are. So what I mean by this is a lot of coaches these days are literally using ChatGPT content. It's okay to use ChatGPT, but I would still recommend the core of the content has to come from you, and utilize ChatGPT or any other AI tools to maybe like tweak it a bit, but don't just copy paste content from a different source. You have to write it based on your experience, your journey. So the easiest way to create content, in my experience, is to look back on your own life. Before you became a coach, what are the experiences that you went through? What made you become a coach? What are you passionate about as a coach? What are the areas that you've helped other people in? All these things can be, great topics for your content. It can be everyday content that you can resonate with. Okay, doesn't have to be like any fancy stuff. All right, so there are 3 types of content mainly. Number 1 is called a general positive content. So a general positive content is not really about your niche or your target market. It's a general thing, okay, which has to be positive. So what I mean by that is, by reading that post, people in your audience, they should be able to experience some kind of positive energy. So this can be about sharing inspirational quotes, the people that you look up to. This can be about something you learned from your parents or from your boss or from your sister or your brother, or something about Women's Day, for example, right? So it doesn't always have to be connected to your niche, your post. It can also be a positive content, a general positive content, which talks about mindset, confidence, helping others, these kind of things. Second type of content is your business content. So this is where you're talking about your niche, your target market. Okay. So for those of you who attended the previous master classes, you might remember the RPS framework I talked about. It's called the Results Planning System. If you haven't attended it, that's fine. That's a framework where you go into all the details of what happens inside your prospective client's mind when they're struggling with the challenges they have and they want to achieve their goals. So this content is specifically about how you can help them as a mindset coach, spirituality coach, results coach, executive coach, whatever type of coaching you do. This is everything to do with the business content. Okay. So here you can talk about 5 steps to achieve something, or the case studies of other clients of yours, things like that. Next one is a values-based content. So values-based content meaning this is where you can talk about what do you value as a person. So for example, you can talk about something about your health. If you want to share something about how you improve your health, your practices for health, that can be a values-based content. Also, what are your values for people in general, right? Do you value honest communication? Are you willing to share the truth even when it's difficult? Those kind of things. So I know it's a bit general, so I want to give a few examples to all of you. So please let me know if you can see my screen. Yeah. All right. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is one of the posts that I actually made a year ago. So this one, last year, I traveled to Egypt, to Cairo, Egypt, to deliver a keynote presentation at an international conference. So when I came back from there, I made a post about it. So this type of post, right? Whether if you do a speaking engagement, a workshop, a masterclass, something like that, that is an example of a business type post because it's connected to what you do in your business. Okay. So if you've been invited as a guest speaker, if you give a free session, even that is all part of your business content. Now, let me encourage all of you to do one thing from today moving forward. Document every single thing in your journey. So when I say document, I'm talking about if you go do a workshop, online, offline, get a picture. If you become a guest speaker in a podcast, get a video recording of it, get an image of it, right? If you do, let's go hot, create a group picture of it. So every single thing that you're doing, document it, because documenting a journey is one of the best ways to be authentic and show that you are an authority in your area. Okay, so please document everything. This is one example of a business type post. Now I'll show you another example. This one is a general positive type of post. And the title says, I'm an Indian and I can't live without chai. I'll tell you a story behind it. By the way, before I tell you that, how many of you here, my fellow Indians, do you love chai? Anyone, any chai lovers here? Okay, so I'll tell you a quick story behind it. So last year, my wife and I moved to Vietnam, and now we are back in India, but it didn't really work out for us, unfortunately. So what we did was when we went there, we were staying in a hotel for a few days, and literally I was without like chai for many days. And I almost went into a depression because of it. So one day I had an idea that I would speak to the owner of the hotel. It was a small budget hotel. So speak to the owner of the hotel and ask them for a small stove because I had access to all the ingredients, the chai powder and the sugar and all these things. So they agreed to make a small kitchen setup on the rooftop of the hotel, which is what you see here. And when I shared this post, the takeaway message is not about chai. The takeaway message is that this one, just ask for help when you need it and see what happens. So the message I want to share through this post is that if I had not talked to the owner of the hotel and asked them for a small kitchen setup, we would never be able to do this, right? And it's not only about the chai, it's also about the other things that we want to cook. So it's a simple experience from my life that I turned it into a post. So think about in your own life, what are some moments like this? Perhaps you got a certain piece of advice from somebody that gave you more confidence. Perhaps a stranger on a flight said something to you that made you think. Whatever that might be, use those things and think about what could be a takeaway message for people. By the way, all your posts, right, never have more than one takeaway message on your post. Make all the posts about only one major takeaway. Okay, if you have too many messages in the post, it's confusing for people and they get confused. So make all the posts about one major takeaway. Now, an example for a values-based post is this. A while ago, I think about 6 months ago, I made this post that says my top 5 rules for success. And this is literally what I resonate with. Similarly, you can make a post that says my top 5 rules for relationships, for success, for health, whatever that might be. So this is about your values, right? And the people that connect with you, the people who resonate with you, there's dramatically more chances that they will reach out to you. Okay. So these are some examples of how to use the different kind of 3 types of content, basically. How many of you like it? If you like it, put yes in the chat. Oh, by the way, I learned this type of post a few years, I think about a year ago, and I spoke to someone who runs a personal branding agency, and he is literally an expert on LinkedIn of everything. So I learned it from them, and they are the ones who told me about it. And since then, like I've been making a conscious effort to write posts like that, and it really works. Because if you only write only one type of post, it's boring. People want to see something different. And this is a good mix. Okay. Now, some of you might have this question: how frequently should you post? How many of you have that question? Put your hand up, please, if you have that question. Yeah. Every day. Now, I know it's shocking for all of you, for many of you maybe. So if you're someone who's never written anything or you struggle to write, to begin with, I would encourage you to write at least 3 times in a week. At least 3 times in a week to begin with, okay? If you've been posting on and off and you want to make it, take it to the next level, post it every single day. You can actually schedule posts on LinkedIn as well. You don't have to sit there all the time. You can write 3-4 posts and then schedule it. So this again, I learned this from one of the MCC coaches who's quite popular on LinkedIn. So he said to me that schedule a post all your content on the same time every day. So choose any time, preferably like 8 o'clock in the morning if you can, but if you cannot, that's okay. Choose any one time and stick to that. Because something happens in the algorithm if you do that, because LinkedIn like organically promotes you if you stick to a certain timeline, okay? At a certain time. All right, so we don't have time for the exercise to do now, but I will share with you what the exercise is. The exercise is that think about what your audience would connect with for a general positive content. I'd like all of you to think about a few ideas of what could you write in terms of general positive content. Think about anything that has been a positive experience for you. Something that someone gave you an advice, you learned something on a trip, a stranger told you something you learned from your parents, you read a book and something stood out to you. All those can be examples of general positive content. Second is the business content. And the third one is your values-based content. This is values for who you are as a person, because many of you might relate to what I'm about to share now. Your best client are always people who share similar values with you, okay? So the more you share your values as a person, the people reading it in your audience, provided you build your audience, they will resonate with that, okay? So here is a pro tip to write content. And this is a popular question, that how do I know what content to write, okay? There are many ways to do it. Like, for example, one of the ways to do it could be to identify what are the thoughts that keep your audience up at night. What are they worried about? You can write a post about that, okay? Are you worried about XYZ? Okay? Here's 2 steps to overcome XYZ, something like that. So this is one technique that, in my opinion, works the best in my experience. That is, literally, you ask your audience, what is your number 1 question about, and then your topic. What is your number 1 question about getting a promotion? What is your number 1 question about overcoming relationship issues? What is your number 1 question about, communication with your colleagues? Whatever your target area is, reach out to people in that area and do a research with them and compile all the answers. So I really appreciate Kenneth, Namrata, and the entire team, because they compiled a list of all the questions that many of you sent, and they put it in a spreadsheet and they sent me. That's fantastic, isn't it? Thank you guys for that. So that's an example of doing a research with your target audience to know, and use these things. Turn their suggestions or their questions into LinkedIn content. It's simple as that, but so many people don't do it. You ask what your audience want, and then you give it to them, basically. So the more you do it, the more you'll notice that people are able to relate with you better. Many people start reaching out to you, right? It's a great way to add really, really valuable content, okay? Yeah, and also when you when you create content on a certain topic, you make sure that you send a link to that post to that person, because you want to make sure that they see it. And when they see it, they trust you better, and they are more open to having a conversation, even if they are a stranger, okay? So this will open more doors for your discovery calls. And like I said, the more discovery calls you have, the more chance of getting clients, provided you know how to convert them and make your offer, okay? So here is a quick framework, and this is the last part of today's masterclass. The 4-step framework to, Sri, I'll answer the questions. Let me just go through it quickly. I'm almost at the end. So here is a framework, okay? Number one, choose what type of post you're going to write. This is like so important, everyone here. When you're writing content, understand what is the type of post you're creating. Is it a business type post? Is it a general positive kind of post? Is it a values-based post? Second is the headline. And the headline has to be something like an attention-grabbing statement. I mean, we could do an entire masterclass about that. But I would recommend you to read any good copywriting books, or, look at what other people who are writing on LinkedIn are doing. Look at their headlines. It will be attention grabbing. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them, right? The headline is the most important part, because for your content, LinkedIn only shows that first. People click on read more, and then they can read the rest. The next part of your content is the meat of the content. So this can either be a story from your personal life, a professional life, if somebody told you something, or it can also be a strategy, right? Step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. The last part is call to action. So there are different ways to give call to action. One way to give call to action is reach out to me if you want to have a discovery call, right? Another way is, what else would you add to this? Comment below, right? And the other way to give a call to action will be share it with your audience, repost it if you find it valuable. Okay. There are many ways to do it, and you don't have to give call to action for every post. Okay. I would say, in my experience, to keep it a bit like not aggressive kind of post, if you're posting, let's say 6 times in a week, 2 to 3 posts can have a call to action. Let's say about half, 50%. Okay. But it depends on many different things, but this is just like an average I'm sharing. You don't have to give a call to action every time, but it will still be good if you understand this structure. Okay. So that was my promise number 3. And if you think I kept that, please put 3 in the chat. Yay. Okay. So that is it, everybody. So let me summarize quickly the 3 pillars of turning content into clients. Number 1 is optimizing your profile. Number 2 is building your ideal audience. And number 3 is to create valuable content. And also, all of these things that I've talked about today will help you have more interest, generate more interest, and have more visibility. Now, you still need to know how to turn people from a prospect into a client in a discovery session. And in the previous masterclass, I had one section about that, how to turn people. And I did talk quite extensively about it. So if there's any way you can get access to that, I don't have it. So please reach out to Kenneth or Namrata and the team. And I think they are okay to share it. They're good people, right? All right, very good. So that is the end of the content. And now we are officially open for any questions. Who wants to go first? Yes, Nadine, go ahead, please.
I just want to ask you about the audience. If we don't have the LinkedIn Premium, we cannot connect and send a note more than a certain number each month.
Yes, you can do, in my experience, you can do up to 100 a week is what I've seen.
Even not the premium? I don't think so.
Yes, I've done it myself. Test it out. So what you want to do is, to be on the safe side, let's say you target 90 people a week. Okay, so this can be like, whatever that number is divided by 7 per week. So to be on the safe side, keep it a bit less than 100, but you can absolutely reach out to people and have a note. And some people have noticed, I think it is something to do with their profile. They don't have the option for you to send a note, but that's some people, not everybody.
I noticed because I'm a coach, I cannot connect to CEOs, directors, managers. With coaches, I can connect, but someone different industry, I cannot connect easily. There is certain number that LinkedIn will allow me unless I do the premium. That's what I noticed.
It's possible that you've exhausted a certain number for a month. They have a certain number for a month. And I got this message from LinkedIn as well a few months ago that, you have exhausted the number of connection requests, something like that. So that has something to do with the LinkedIn algorithm. I'm not really sure how that is, but the answer to your question is, even if you don't have premium, you can still send connection requests. Absolutely.
And do you think we need the premium?
Premium does have more features. I'm not an expert in that area. So what you do is you have a look at what are the features you get if you get premium. Okay. And if you think those features will really benefit you, then go for it. And I think many times LinkedIn has an option for you to try for 30 days for free. So take it up if you can. And if you like it, then you continue.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. Perfect. So there are some questions in the chat. Okay. Not sure which
Aki,
one.
I had a question.
Yes,
I
Shri,
raised
go
my
ahead.
hand in the middle.
Yes.
I failed to understand what you meant by share that piece of content with them personally as part of pro tip.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't understand that.
Good question. Good question. So what I mean is, before that, I said you reach out to them and ask them what's your number one question, right? So I mean that message would look something like this. So dear or hello or whatever you address them with, and their name, and you say, I hope you're doing well, and I just wanted to share something important with you. I'm creating my LinkedIn post for this week or next week, and if you don't mind sharing, what is your number one question about? And then your area. Okay. So now a lot of people may not respond to it, and that's normal. Okay. And the people who do respond, you want to have a spreadsheet or some way to make it into an organized manner, like tabulate it. And when you do create content about those topics, once you post it, you go to the 3 dots and you click on it, get a link to that post, and you share it with the person. And you say, dear or hello, I wrote a post about it. Please check it out here. Because this is a great way to build trust. And this is not a salesy way. It's not an aggressive way. You're coming from a place of giving value. In my experience, people really appreciate it because the more you give and you have a strategy to do that, you will have a way to get more people to your discovery call.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you.
You're
Do you
welcome.
have any suggestions for, like we have an organization page, and then there is this personal page. Would these apply to the org page too, or would that strategy be very different?
So first of all, I don't do that much. Okay, I mean, I don't really do the organization part. So first
This
of
is
all,
more for personal.
I'm not an expert
Got it.
in that area. So everything I said is on the personal side. And also, if you're building a coaching career, some people have a question, should you focus on your company page or your personal page? And the answer is your personal profile, because you always have to have your personal brand. Like that's so important these days, right? So if you're getting started with the branding part, focus on the personal brand. And if you're getting started with the profile, focus on your LinkedIn profile first. And then, unless you have someone else who can take care of the company page, I would say focus on
That's what I thought.
focus on your personal one. Yes,
Thank you.
please go ahead. Next question.
So I think that was a question I sent before as well, and I wrote as well somewhere in the middle. And that's really a genuine question. Do people read the posts? Or it is not important for them to read and they will just get in touch with you?
Okay, let me ask you this. Can you think about the last time you read someone's post?
Exactly my point. I don't.
Okay, all right.
Because, recently, since I have come in this journey, I have connected to a lot of coaches, and there is so much content because now it's my LinkedIn is full of coaches and everybody is putting like this long. So I mean, sometimes I don't even read the first para. I mean, I'm just not interested.
Yeah.
If I read the first 4 lines and I feel there is something to it, something really personal that is coming from the heart, then I have read. So I would say
Bingo.
the last 3 or 4 months, probably 2 posts I have read.
Okay. So you have multiple questions, which is embedded in one question. So let me simplify it. The answer to your first question, do people read? Yes. Okay. Next part, do people read everything? No. So you yourself answered it because you said first 2-3 lines you read, and if you don't feel there's anything from the heart, you don't read. And that is so true. Okay. So, and you also said something interesting. You said you have a lot of coaches in your network. Okay. That is good and not good. That is good because you have a, kind of a support community. Not that good because if you only have coaches, like I said, that's pillar number 2, you don't have an ideal audience, right? So even if you create content, you're not like exposing it to the right people. So what I would say is look at all the list of coaches you have or other people that you have. And if they're not active or they're not contributing to your growth in any way, remove them. I mean, from LinkedIn, you can keep them in your life, but from LinkedIn, because you don't have to, I mean, LinkedIn is the more inactive members you have in your profile. This person from the branding agency told me this, that the more people that are in your network who are not active, for some reason, LinkedIn limits your, what is that called? Visibility. Yeah. So I would highly recommend you to add people who are more of a prospective client for you. And also, there are so many people who write good content, right? And many of us are here. So if you like someone's content, you look into what they're doing. And also, and thank you for asking this. It reminds me of one thing that I did a year ago. A friend of mine who's a career coach. So I loved certain posts that he made, the structure. Okay. So what I did is I copied that post and I went to my Google Drive and I have some examples, like some posts that I take inspiration from, the structure, the headline, the middle part, right? So you can have that. And in the world of copywriting, it's called swipe file. But you don't have to know that. But if you like certain person's post, the structure, copy that. And when you write your own, you can follow a similar structure. The content is different, but the structure can be the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next question, please. Who wants to go next?
Aki, there's one on the chat. Could you throw some light on LinkedIn Sales Navigator? Though I understand probably we're not going there, but
LinkedIn Sales Navigator, unfortunately, I don't really know much about it because I did try to use it, but to be very honest, for me, I found it a bit technical. And what I'm doing right now on LinkedIn is working well for me. So I'm the type of person who doesn't want to do too many different things. I like to double down on what is working well. So I don't really know much about Sales Navigator. But what I would say is there is this guy, I'll write his name on the chat. So has anyone here heard about Justin Welsh? Justin Welsh. So this is an American, he's a LinkedIn creator. Yeah, I follow him. I've taken one of his courses as well. So if you'd like to know more about it, I would recommend to go to his website. And I don't know if it's about Sales Navigator, but he has like 2-3 different courses, right? And just go there and he might have something, okay? Yeah, it's better to find someone else who's an expert on that. Okay, Soha has your hand up. You have a question?
I think Nadine was before me. Just a very quick question. Sometimes we see webinars ad for people on the LinkedIn. How helpful are these? Or
when you say webinar,
what do you say about that?
Are you talking about LinkedIn audio event?
Yes, some people place ads for their videos or webinars.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, what I think about them is if you have a good audience, your ideal audience, and they're engaged, right? It's a good idea to do a LinkedIn event because I haven't organized it myself, but some of my connections have invited me to be a speaker and I've done it that way. So from what I know, you can actually see who has signed up for it. So this is a good way for you to filter out like thousands of connections into, let's say, a few people or a few hundred people who signed up for that. So let's say whatever topic you do the LinkedIn audio event for, if certain people signed up for it, it's a clear sign that they're interested in that topic. So if you have a certain program or a masterclass or a workshop, or you're a coach in that area, you can reach out to those people at a later point. So here is a practical solution for you. Work on increasing your audience and engaging your audience first. And when you have a consistently engaged audience, then you can plan a LinkedIn audio event. But if you go right into a LinkedIn audio event, chances are you won't get many people, and it's not a nice feeling, right? So yeah. Nadine, you have a question?
Yeah, I want to follow up on Sri. I think her name is Sri. So the different way to reach to prospects is one of them. We have similar values because we follow the same group. Or a question about market research. Is there any other way you reach to prospects? So you don't sound like salesy?
Well, great question. Is there any other way? Did you also mention the groups that I talked about, the different groups?
You said that we belong to the same group, we have same interests, share the same values.
Yeah.
This is one.
These are two things, I mean, 2 to 3 things that I've noticed in terms of reaching out. Also, the other way to do it is to go to your existing connections profile. And, there's a section that says 500 plus connections. I think many of you might have noticed that, right? So you can actually click on that and you can see, I think for most people, you can see their connections. And I would encourage you to go through your existing connections and look at who are those people who might be a good fit for your network. So I have done that a lot during my early stages. So invest some time every single day, look at your existing connections, click on their profile, click on their connections, go through all the connections. And as long as you're within the number of how many connections you can add per week, that is also a good way to reach out.
Yeah, I mean the message to reach. How should I reach out to them?
Oh, you mean the message?
Yeah, what to say?
Oh, okay. All right. My apologies.
Yeah.
Misunderstood. Well, no, actually, in my opinion, I always use that one line. So the key is to look for something that you have in common. So if you don't really find a group or a topic in common, what you can say is, I found your profile interesting and I would love to connect with you. That's it.
That's it?
That's it. But you can't really say anything else, right? If you don't know them, you can't really say anything else. But I would encourage you to look at something that you can find in common. Okay. Some area, some topic that you find in common, because one of the easiest ways to build rapport with people is to have common topics.
Yeah. So, and when you say we remove the coach, because me as well, I have a lot of coaches. So should I remove all the coaches from my profile LinkedIn?
Don't remove me.
No, I'll keep you. I'll follow you actually now. I'm going to look for you.
Okay. All right. So, great question. I would say remove all the coaches who just have a profile but don't do anything on LinkedIn. And how do you know that? If you click on their profile and go to their activity, you can look at when was the last time they made a post, or if they made a post at all. So if they made a post like 6 months ago or something like that, remove them, because they're not helping themselves and they're not helping you. Okay.
Everybody is going to remove me then.
Yeah, they're going to remove me. Yeah, for sure.
What?
No, but when
I will add you, Sri. Don't worry.
Me as well. I just sent you a request.
Okay, I will.
That is very important. So when they're active, that means, and I am active, that means their clients' audience or their audience, where they will see me and I will see, vice versa. It's both.
Yeah.
So I will see their audience and their audience will see me, right?
They will see your, their audience will see you, and her audience, okay, I got confused now.
Their audience will see each other.
Yeah, they'll see each other as long as you're commenting and engaging on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So I'll share with you one more thing, right? So what you want to do is you want to look at the most active people and click on the bell icon on their profile. I think there's a bell icon there. So that means every time they make a post, you get a notification. All right. So I mean, don't take too much pressure. And I know some people might be thinking, oh my God, do I have to look at my phone all the time? I'm not saying that you have to be the first person to comment, but I'm saying if you know certain people, their audience might be a good fit for you, you want to click on their bell button in the linked profile. And when they make a post, you will get a notification, right? And leave a comment there. By the way, this is a great strategy. So for example, let's say, by the way, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of coaching do you do, Nadine?
Leadership.
Perfect. So let's say there's a leadership coach who's like 10, 15 years ahead of you, right? So following their post and engaging and commenting on their post is a great way for you to attract audience from them. Because people who follow them, most likely they're interested in getting a coach, or for sure they're interested in leadership. And not everyone who follows them, maybe they won't be able to work with them, or that senior coach may not be taking any more clients, or they might be charging too much, whatever that might be, right? So that's a great way for you to get audience from there. So great question. And I would say as long as it's engaging regularly, you will be able to be visible in front of their audience. And also, one more thing I want to share. Just below your name, right, the brand identity statement, I help XYZ achieve ABC. That is one sentence that has to be very clear, because when people see a comment, they see a name and they see a section of that bio, not the entire bio, a section of that bio, right? So make sure you have a clearly defined statement that says, who do you help as a leadership coach? Okay.
But the problem with the emotional intelligence, you help a lot of people, professions. They can be students, they can be professionals, all levels.
So what you want to do is you want to clarify that. You say, I help directors improve their emotional intelligence. I help working women improve their emotional intelligence, something like that. The thing about working with students, I have this experience as well. It feels good to help them, but unfortunately, they don't have the money, right? So if you want to get them as a client, you have to sell to the parents, which is even more difficult. So if you're in coaching to create impact and income, don't focus on students, or at least have it as a secondary target market. Target students on your LinkedIn because they don't have the financial resources.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Next question. Maybe we can have two more. Anyone?
I have more if you want.
Where do you,
let me see.
Nadine, 1 second. Where do you find the bell icon? I just went and searched for a bell icon.
Well, it's on the right-hand side.
Of a person's profile?
Yeah, so let me see if I can show you that quickly. So yeah, this, okay, I can't see the bell icon by myself. So let me go take a look at Kenneth's profile. By the way, Kenneth, I need to talk to you. Huh? How did you manage to get the blue badge? I want to have that too. So yeah, this one here. Oops, where is that? Huh, it's strange. Let me refresh.
There it comes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So
Okay.
Kenneth, I'm promoting you, huh? I'm getting people to follow you more. So that's the bell icon, okay?
Got
So
it.
just click on it and you will be able to see the notifications every time that person makes a post. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Okay, last
Mati, with
question.
your permission, may I just invite Vishnu?
Yes, please.
If he could address that sales navigator.
Yes, absolutely.
A question
Absolutely.
that would be helpful for all of us. Vishnu, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I mean, I don't think we have enough time, but I'll quickly just make it a point. Sales Navigator is helpful in the order of if you're setting a B2B business. It's very helpful. And unless you're very clear about your design of the business, any kind of subscription you take, unfortunately, you will spend a lot, but you won't gain much. So design your business first and then focus what your client area is, whether it's a B2C, D2C, or B2B, or specific leadership and executive. then apply for or subscribe for Sales Navigator. It is one of the most powerful tool that you have, but you need to know where business is sitting. Thanks.
Thanks, Vishnu.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Vishnu.
Vishnu. Thank you.
Okay, last question. Who wants to go for it? Okay, Nadine,
Yeah, I would like.
Okay, Nadine, with your permission, I'll go to Raya now. Please go ahead. Yeah. Raya, go ahead.
I would like to ask the connections that I send to people, like each week, 100 connections. Those who did not accept me, should I remove them from the list of to withdraw them?
Good question. I would say wait for a couple of weeks at least. Okay. If they don't accept it, then you can remove it. Yeah, at least a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Is it affecting some KPI or some LinkedIn algorithms, or if will I not remove, it will be okay also?
Yeah, it's better if you have like a refined profile, meaning the people who are active and not many unaccepted invitations. That's always better. But having said that, when we send out invitations, it's better to wait for a couple of weeks. And if you see that they have not accepted it, remove them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Nadine, you are so like energetic. I am so compelled to give you like one more question.
Thank you. But can you share before you go your profile on LinkedIn so we follow you? But before you go, one lady, she advised me, she's an HR. She said, don't help all the categories at the same time. Just target first managers. Don't write managers, directors, executives, entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You can say entrepreneurs, but don't target all level of management together. Target the lowest, then go higher, higher, higher.
Absolutely right. So whoever who told you that is absolutely right. Because, you know, so LinkedIn is basically a marketing tool, right? That's what it is. It's to help you to promote yourself and have more visibility. Now, there is a simple rule in marketing, which has been in use for generations, not like years, a generation. And it goes like this. A confused mind always says no.
Never
So the more people you target, you're actually making people confused. Okay. So if I have to give you like one tip or one piece of advice, it'll be look for a target market which you feel good working with. And when I say feel, I feel like, you know, as a coach, it's a very personal thing, right? What we're doing is a very personal thing. So we have to feel excited and inspired to work with that target market. At the same time, look for a target market who has money. So let's say mid-level managers, if you want to work with them, or directors, because most of the time they have the financial resources, right? So choose that for LinkedIn. But if you still want to work with the other target markets, you can try to reach out to them like individually, maybe using like WhatsApp or any other medium, but keep LinkedIn for like one target market.
So I cannot put directors and entrepreneurs at the same time?
Yeah, that's okay, because there's a lot of similarities there. So I would say do that, okay, and create your content based on everything that you've learned today. And if you have any other ideas, and look for who's responding to you more. So again, even in entrepreneurs, there are several categories, right? There's different levels of entrepreneurship. So look at what's the feedback you're getting, who are the type of people reaching out to you, and you will only know that at least like 3 months of being consistent. I'm saying consistent, meaning if you post every day for 3 months, okay. If you do that, then you will be able to see a trend of who is reaching out, who is commenting. So yeah, you can do that, absolutely.
And this is considered business to business in this case. It's not business to...
Oh, it depends. You know, if you're reaching out to them and you're helping them personally, you're coaching them individually, then it's like a B2C. But if you're reaching out to the organization and you're coaching their team, or you're working with a business, then it's B2B.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
All
So,
right.
Kenneth, I hand over to you.
Thank you so much. So we'd first love to capture the moment. So if everyone,
please.
I may request,
Please turn on your camera.
turn on
Yeah,
your
please share your
camera.
LinkedIn, Akhilesh, your name, right?
Yeah, I just put my full name here. I don't have my profile, so
Yeah,
if
we
you
don't
just
see
put
your
it
full
for-
name.
Yeah, I just put it here again. So please copy my full name and then put it on the LinkedIn search bar, and you'll be able to see it. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to take a picture. If more
Yes.
people could show their cameras, turn on their cameras, that'll be nice. But for all of us here, all right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, maybe one more. We've got more people coming in. Nice. Smile, guys. Thank you.
All right. Awesome.
Yes, Aki, gratitude from the
Thank you,
entire
thank you.
CJ builders as well as the entire CJ community. Thank you to each one of you who stayed and just made this more special. Very impressive, Aki, how you really give time. We always extend time, but it's valuable. You don't cut in and dismiss. So it's very heartwarming, the willingness to share and be present and give all your best. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone once again.
Thank you.
Happy Women's Day to everyone.